Hello and welcome to the Wealth Rules Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Monique Wright, here with the wonderful and marvelous Vickie Helm. How are you doing today, Vickie?
I'm doing so good. I'm really excited about the topic today. And what I want to let everybody know right from the start, thank you for joining us this week. Hey, Adam, nice to see you on. This week, we are going to be changing our showtime to from Thursday to Wednesday. So we're going to be putting that note out. We'll be putting it's the same time. We're just moving
Yes.
it from Thursday to Wednesday because well, that way we can have a little more flexibility in our podcast. So, thank you for bringing this topic up today. And we're going to be talking about, how to fire your boss before he fires you. And
Hmm.
there's quite a bit of data on that right now, isn't there?
Absolutely. Right now, we have AI taking leverage from jobs. We have companies who are looking at their bottom line and getting rid of high earners.
Yeah.
We have, just your everyday companies just losing, especially with the energy crisis, right? Losing money. So they're downsizing. So, how can you
Yes.
fire your boss before your boss fires you? Is the topic of today, but it's also what's happening today.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right. I'm
today we're
sorry.
going to be giving you certain skill sets that you can use. Go ahead, Vickie.
I'm sorry, we're going live and it's just so funny. But I want to bring this to you right now. Our companies, our market is being held up by the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's held up by AI companies. They're betting fortunes of money that these data centers are going to make profitability happen. But after that, if you look at all the companies in our market, they're either flatlining, staying completely easy, or they're dropping a little bit. And what happens right now is that we get to look at that because if you were a CEO, how would you make your shareholders be happy with the profits and not sell your stock or leave your company? How is it that you would make them happy? And right now, that's the thing. They have to create some
Yes.
margin and they're going after big salaries.
Mhm.
If they get rid of these salaries, then they have some profitability so that their shareholders are going, well, my companies are doing great. Well, we just replaced that. So, this thing
And
here, Sol Manu, thank you um, for your information. And I'm going to remove it because it doesn't really have anything to do with the. There we go. It's done. There we go. So to me, I want to be able to talk to people about their um, their life, what's going to be happening to them, and they're not going after the cheap jobs. They're going after the big money makers, the people who are costly and expensive.
the the higher earners are the ones who are going to affect the bottom line the most. And if you're a corporation and you want to take it to your shareholders, of course, with that profit and loss statement, you want to show a profit. You want to show that you are actually making money or bringing the company more money. The people who are making less aren't really going to affect the bottom line as impactful as the higher earners. So, what can some of the higher earners do, Vickie, in your opinion? There are a couple skill sets that we talk about all the time. We talked about since the first show, probably, to help people really understand what it is that they can do to fire their bosses or not have an option to, not
That's right. Have the
necessarily
option.
having to quit, but if you wanted to, if you
Yes.
wanted to pivot, you wanted to shift, or if there was a time where you got that pink slip, you had an option.
Yes. So thank you for this. One of the most important things I want to start with is that they marketers and online people know what's going to happen next to these high earners, And the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to pitch you the high ticket offer where it is 20, 30, 40, 50,000 to work with someone. And I know this because I have been doing it for years. My average client stays with me 5.5 years, and they pay about 20 grand a year to work with me on that year. And
Mhm.
so I know the process, and they're going to start right now. And the Black Friday offers are going to be coming up, and they're going to be like, well, instead of 30 and 50,000 today, it's 20 or 25,000. And that's the scam that's going to happen. Everybody is going to be
Yes.
trying to drain whatever money you have from you with promises that usually don't come true. So
Right.
the thing is, you don't want to buy a dream business. You want to buy and bootstrap a business right now
Mhm.
that doesn't require all of your time, all of your hustle, all of your mind. You want to learn to build something that's going to work for you 24 hours a day. So, with that
And
lever,
something too, Vicki, that maybe the listeners want to understand is that it's a skill set they already have. They don't have
mhm,
to go out and pay for a new skill set. They don't have to try to reinvent the wheel because working a nine to
yes,
five and trying to sometimes you can feel overwhelmed. Oh, I'm trying to start a new business. I'm trying to learn a new skill set. What do you already know? What's your phrase, Vicki? Get paid for what you know?
it's turn what you know into cash flow.
Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because the basics of who you already are and what you already know is going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine for. I'm hearing feedback from from the other side of your computer there. So you get to the point where you are taking what you know and turning it into cash flow, and you're not spending the money you have right now. That money is important, and it needs to be stewarded. And in that stewardship, what you want to be able to do is have the ability to outthink the market, outthink the business marketing that's going to be online that everybody's going to come to. And you want to be able to take what you know and say, I know this skill, this skill, this skill. And I'm going to give you an example. There was an attorney that got, I don't know if she got laid off or what, but she decided to stop being an attorney. And she now teaches people how to build a trust online. She took her attorney knowledge and said family trusts are really important right now, and we need to do that. So she just took what she knew and she turned it
Mhm.
into cash flow. That's the game you're going to play right now. You're a high earner. That means your skill sets are above and beyond the average person. So this is a time where you can take what it is that you have and just evaluate it.
Mhm.
But then the second step is that you also have to evaluate your debt and what it is that your monthlies are. So you know what you're matching, not the lifestyle you had here, but the basic income that you need to save the house payment, the car payments, everything else. Because right now, I know people are defaulting on car loans. It's larger than the 2008 crash right now that people are defaulting on car loans.
Mhm.
They're just letting vehicles go because they don't really know what their lifestyle. You're gonna have to downsize your lifestyle. What's the basis of that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. When I first, started being able to put finances away so that I wouldn't feel anxious if something did happen to my livelihood as far as my career was concerned. Investments were already there. I'm talking about like that monthly savings. And people can do this right now. They can do it for 2027. You still have time. to prepare for 2027. It's not the end of the year yet. But like Vickie was saying, don't take advantage of those high ticket coaching
Mhm.
deals. They're not deals. It's a scam. Because if you can look at what your bills are right now and say, okay, if I can just save another $6,000, $7,000 a month, if I can start a business based on what I
Mhm.
know and create cash flow, then I can have something that can sustain me in the event that my income takes a downturn. It
Mhm.
won't wipe me out.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be at. You don't want to be in a position where you know that you're a high earner, you know that they're trying to take your leverage, and you want to be in a position where if it does, that you're still okay. You might love your job so much so that you would hate to leave it. Some people
Mhm.
get up in the morning, they get their coffee, they like going, getting in the car and
Yeah.
going, but you can't buy the new car, can't buy the new handbag, you can't go on the luxury vacation right now. Right now, what you want to do is make sure that you have that savings there so that you can plan for your future. Going to 2027, you want to be solid because AI is not going away. And the profit and loss statement may have you on their bottom line. So you just want to make sure that you're good. And
Yeah,
these
it's
skills, I would get pencil and paper right now and write these skill sets down. Write them down, because they're important.
so the next thing that you wanna have, I think that's number 3 for me, is you wanna have a business that isn't expensive to run. You
Mm,
wanna have something, an income, and a cash flow that isn't like, "Hi, I have a cash flow, but it costs me $2,500 a month to run." Where most people, it's like, okay, they're gonna try to sell you some high ticket offer and
mhm,
then a bunch of programs inside that make them affiliate income. So they're going to sell you Go High Level, which is really a big learning curve. It's super expensive.
yes,
And somehow the learning curve is so tough. You don't want something that is a burden to learn. And the key thing is, here's the things, it's got to be inexpensive. It's got to
mhm,
be fast to set up. It's got to be something that you can bootstrap from home that doesn't cost you a fortune. It's got to be something that is innately about your skill sets and who you are, what your message is to the world. That's got to be there.
mhm,
And then the next thing that you have to do is evaluate the difference between the skills you're going to need now and the skills that you learned here,
mhm,
because they don't apply in the same way. So, for example, if you are a project manager here, it doesn't mean you know how to be a business owner or a CEO here.
yeah,
So, you're going to have to learn these skills and you don't want them to overwhelm you. Now, here's the thing, we're often told that it is super hard to build a business. So, I want to tell you my point of view.
mhm,
It's not super hard to set up a business. It's super hard to control your mind while it's beating you up, telling you you're not good enough, telling you you have imposter
mhm,
syndrome. And it's telling you that if you just found that job, or it's grieving and mourning because you have been at that job for 5 to 10 years and you really liked it and you're grieving the loss of it. It's really hard to go
mhm,
through the emotional pieces while you're trying to set that business up. So the next thing you need is a community so you have support.
yes,
Because believe it or not, that loss and that grief needs support. And where you want to be isn't in a group of women who are all grieving because they lost their job or their way of life or
mhm,
they're worried or anything else. So I want to make sure of two things. One is that you understand that when this happens, the first thing you need is support. Don't make any decisions unless you have that support. And we'll talk about how to set that up. And the second thing is realize that you're probably nervous, you're probably scared.
Hmm.
But if you do this before it happens, don't let the event trigger the opportunity. You can set this up now. So you want it to be low cost, and you want it to be where you're developing assets, not just income, not just cash flow, but assets that you can rely on, which we're going to get there because this is the third thing. I think everybody should build a lifeboat business because a lifeboat business is every yacht, every something that is huge, your world has a lifeboat business. So, example, when you buy a house, you buy the insurance. That just the house and the insurance go together. You don't just buy the house and go, good luck. And with our incomes, we only think about death and disability. We don't think about displacement.
Right.
And what happens is displacement happens more often than death and disability. And it's going to happen next year and the year after that, the year after that. It's going to happen more then than now.
I think that a lot of people have fear too of loss of stability. With your job, you know you're going to get paid once a month or twice a month, however you get paid, or whenever your commission,
Mhm.
if you're in a sales based job. And you don't feel like you can manage that on your own. You don't have the health benefits. You don't have the sick days and the vacation time. And you
Yeah.
hear the stories about people who are entrepreneurs working 80, 90 hours a week, you know, as they're self employed, but you want freedom.
Mhm.
That's why you have a community too, because there are people who have been there, who have already overcome that fear, who have already fired their bosses, who can talk you through it and who can show you how to navigate the process. I don't know which would be worse, the fear of stability and not being able to, you know, replace your income, or getting a pink slip and
Yeah.
not having another option. So community is so important. I know in Vickie's group, the Independent Women, is a safe place. I know there's conversations all the time. Marvelous women, brilliant women who have successfully navigated the work life and now are also building lifeboats. So I know sometimes there's that fear of the unknown and just thinking you're an island out there by yourself. But that doesn't have to be the case. You can actually have a community, join a community, and then learn how to build your own community
Yeah.
and be successful. And it doesn't have to replace your entire income. That's not what you're looking to do. You're not looking to replace $400,000 overnight.
Yeah.
But by 2027, you want to have a system in place where you're able to see what you're building come to fruition. You're able to have an extra income that can replace a bill or two. That way, you don't feel completely underwater in the event that the ship does tank.
Yeah. You know, I want to go back to the statement you made because what happened to me came up, and I wanted to share it with everybody and how my mentor helped me through this. But you were talking about the paycheck thing. The thing about the paycheck is it doesn't matter if you bring your D game or your A game. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
You're going to get paid the same amount at the end of the month over and over and over again. But
Yes.
when you're in a business, if you don't bring your A game, if you bring your D game, you're probably not going to be making any money. And the key thing is there's a difference. You know, when payola comes here, over here, you don't know when payola is coming. You just know that there's going to be a client, there's going to be a sale. But what happens with your mental game is you don't know when. And that makes everybody just a little panicky. You're like, okay, I don't know when that next client is coming. I don't know when that next client. And I'm like, just chill. The next client is coming.
Right.
And that's what my mentor would tell me. He would say, just chill. The next client is coming. Make your A game, put this out, do
Hmm.
this, make the email, blah, 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 make the offer so good that everybody would want it. It'd be a no brainer.
Hmm.
So you end up having to manage your mind from being in the known and then coming over to the unknown
Right.
and having to excel versus, those days where you come into a work and it's been a rough weekend and your eyes are dragging and you're sitting there at your computer and maybe you're even doing something simple just like data entry, and you're still so tired that you are dysfunctional. And if you look at entrepreneurs, they are like, yeah, I'm tired, but not tired enough to stop.
Right.
It's like once you start winning, the more you win, the more you want to win. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
the more you A game, the more you want to A game. So what happens is this comfort zone turns into this comfort zone over here over a period of time. So the first thing you're going to handle is the mindset from moving from this kind of guaranteed
Mhm.
everything to relaxing in the unknown and serving people, really serving them at a high level in order for them to go ahead and um, create the kind of income that you want to have, where where your sales are coming. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's the mindset.
Not only that, but high earners are competitive.
Yes,
They
they
are
are.
competing in school for grades,
Uh-huh.
competing in college for internships. You're competing for your job opportunities. So when you leave one position on your job to become an entrepreneur, you might be a manager. So you're leaving that manager mindset to become have an entrepreneurial mindset. You're still competitive. You still want that. You
Mhm.
still got to get up in the morning. You still got to have that drive and hunger to succeed and be successful. On your 9 to 5, you're thinking somebody else is going to come for my job. Somebody, behind me or below me wants my position. They're hungry
That's
for it.
right.
They can't wait for me to mess up. You got to stay on it. Over
Yeah.
here, you have competition. You have your competitors. You've got to make sure that even like going to 2027, you got to have that content. You've got to make sure that, I mean, a fun fact is even with real estate, you've got to know AI. You've got to know AI. You've got to know how to market, how to use it, how to become more efficient with it. And that can even help you on your job. So again, we're
Mhm.
not talking about retiring and just leaving your job. We're talking about having the options to be able to do what you want to do in case something either, you know, downsizes your income or just takes your job completely, which
You
never
know,
would be, but
Monique, that's the point right there. We're moving from being in this pay me for showing up kind of
mhm,
mindset into the mindset that no matter what, people have to learn to make their own money, not
right.
necessarily have a job. Because when the job market shrinks, it's not like before where it's going to go back up, where there's going to be capacity to suddenly have these jobs. That's going to take a decade.
Mhm,
And the point you just made about, having to learn to make your own money, that's the shift. The quicker you do it, the quicker you set the system up, you're going to have different skill sets here than you are here. So if you're right now a high earner with a pretty powerful job, you're going to have to make the leap here. And trust me when we tell you this, they are coming for you first. If you get rid of a $500,000 payroll, that makes profitability jump in just a way that the shareholders are going to go, yes. And
mhm,
so what's happening right now is the market is imbalanced and they're going after looking profitable. And that's what they're doing this for. So, one of the things that Monique just talked about, which I thought was really important, is the kind of skills that you're actually going to need going into this entrepreneurial skill set.
mhm,
And the portion of it that I think is really important that Monique mentioned is the number one skill set you're going to have is stewardship and discernment.
mhm,
Stewardship is like it's a willingness to let go of the habit that you had here to being and using the habit that you now are learning here. That's what you really want to learn, because if you learn this and then you spend 20 or $30,000 on a program and you don't have this, they're setting you up to fail.
Hmm.
You have to make this bridge first. And trust me, they don't give a crap about you as much as they give a crap about making that extra bank this year so it helps them look important or have lifestyle. So I want to go over some of the most um, the skills you're going to need. And Monique, what I want to understand is how you moved. Hey, John, nice to see you on. Um, I want to see, how you moved from being in this position, because you've had a point where you did the whole process we're talking about.
Hmm.
You fired your boss a long time ago, but you actually set it up so you could fire your boss. So, in the skill sets, one of the things, what's one of the most important skill sets you learned from here to here that apply? Like, what's the number one skill set that you think applies to making the transition to firing your boss?
One of the biggest skill sets that I had to have personally was money management.
Mm,
So we're talking about having that 1 month or 2 month worth of, it's basically a build a walkaway fund.
build a walk away fund. That's the polite words, because most people say, get the FU money. This is the walk away.
Build a walkaway fund, basically the lifeboat. I looked at my budget. I mean, the bare bones. Because, I
Mhm.
like the luxury shop and travel and do
Yes,
some
you
things
do.
I didn't have any business doing. When I was doing my, retirement fire, it wasn't the lean one, it was the fat one. So you understand exactly what we're talking about here. But the main thing was looking at some of the bills that I had to have at the bare minimum and say, okay, $500 can replace this. $1,000 can replace that. An extra 250 can replace three or four. So if I had that cushion for 6 months, basically the same thing as the lifeboat business. That's why you can start today for 2027. Plan it and prepare it, because I don't know what it does, but when you have money in the bank and you're not using it to shop and you know go crazy, it just calms you. You're not as anxious when something happens. You're not, okay, I've got to hurry up and I got to do this. You've already planned for it. So if whenever, in the job market, and it's been a minute, but if I had to look for another job, or if I knew they were going to try to downsize my income or something, I wasn't going to panic. Now
Yeah.
I work because I want to, not because I have to. And
And
that's
that's a beautiful thing.
absolutely.
Say that again.
Now I have the option to work because I want to and not because I have to. I do real estate right now when I want to, where I want to, how I want to. It's a beautiful thing. It's not, oh my God, I've got to do this to sustain myself. And if my firm closes down tomorrow, what am I going to do? The panic's
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. That's the best feeling. When you said that, I remembered the first time that happened to me, where I could do what I wanted to do. And I will tell you, do you want your A game? Then your A game has to be stress free. It's like
Yeah.
when the big basketball players, they've honed their skills so much. When they get on the court, they're not thinking, "Who, I hope I'm good." They know they're good. They know that
Hmm.
they are the game. They're marquee players, and the marquee players mean that you come out to see Everybody was Michael Jordan was really the guy, or Shaq. People wanted to see Shaq
Mhm.
because, that was like the giant of basketball. But
Bigger
now,
than life. Mhm.
yeah, and now it's Caitlin Clark for the WNBA and some of the other great players that are out there. But my point is this, it's like once you bring your A game, it's because you want to make a difference. So, this is what I want you to know. Monique doesn't do this podcast because she needs the money for it. She does this podcast so she can help you make the transition from this place to this place. And Wealth Done Right, her business, Wealth Done Right, is to help women, high earning women, move from here to here and actually get to where they want to be. And I really love that about her work. And so this is the thing. There are some assets you need to make if you want to be wealthy over the next 10 years. Then I'm going to give you right now the model. We're going to give you right now the model that you need to have. The first thing, the biggest asset you can build in order to maintain yourself through this entire craziness is trust.
Yes.
And that means trust is the number one thing that people don't have anymore. And I'll prove it to you right now. Do you trust our government? Do you trust the doctor? Do you trust our systems? Do you trust somebody to tell you the truth? Even you are in this. No, I don't trust them. Well, that's true. And why? Because they have literally lied so much or manipulated so much and this is decades. It's not about President Trump or President anybody. Go back to the 2008 and take a look at the mortgage crisis.
Mhm.
We don't trust bankers.
No.
So here's the thing. Why should they trust you? So the first thing you do is create trust. And that means the second thing, the most powerful asset you can have for the next 10 years is an audience. And
Yes.
the best time, hey Gail, nice to see you on. The best time to build an audience, it's like that planting the tree. The
Yes.
best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best time to plant a tree is right now.
Right now.
It's like the audience building needs that. So you want an audience because those are the people who trust you. Now, not followers. You want an audience and preferable subscribers because subscribers those are the people who are checking you out and they're like, okay, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and, look at them on the podcast. I'm going to invest some time. And so when they make an investment of time, your goal is delivery of a top notch something, even
Mhm.
if it's a book, a checklist, a guide, a
Yes.
Substack, whatever it is. So in the community, you have to be super, super clear. What is your message? So if I want to ask you this too. I want to tell them, what's your message? What's your message to the world?
My message is very short. And I hope if anybody follows me, they know what it is. A matter of fact, I don't even want to say it yet. If you know what my thing is, put it in the chat. Put it
Oh,
in the
yeah.
chat because on Substack, I post it all the time. If you're not watching from Substack, then maybe you don't know. But my thing is this: ownership and control our wealth. Income is not wealth. Income alone is not wealth. It is ownership and what you control.
Yeah.
And we get, I want to say we've been taught, we've written the book Hidden Rules, and there are certain things that we've been taught, and there are certain things that they did not teach us. Yes, thank you, Vickie. And it's income is so important, but it's not the only thing. If you have one income, if you are dependent solely on one income, that's not wealth. And there are certain things, if you've been listening for any amount of time, that we talk about constantly. on ways to help you build wealth. And like Vickie just said, trust and audience. If you can have those two things, and if you are sincere, we're not talking about just something that you bought from somebody else and a skill set that you didn't have before, and now you're just trying to make money off of it. No, because they're going to see right through it. They're
Yeah.
going to be able to tell if you're fake, if you don't believe in your own message, if you don't love what you do, if you're just trying to make a dollar, they can see that. But if you are passionate about what your message is and who you are, they will trust you because you show up every day and you give them, but you tell them what you've been through, and that resonates with them. But you also give them the skills and the tools to succeed.
Hmm.
I don't just have a pain point because I don't really feel safe in the market. I have a pain point because I had money. I didn't need another dollar. I didn't need another $500. I didn't even know what to do with the money I already had.
Yeah.
I needed to build wealth the right way. I needed to start my garden. I needed to be able to have my own commodities and build assets. Like that's what I needed. And I needed somebody to tell me how to actually get that done. And then I was able to do it. And now I can share with other people. Now they can trust me because I trusted the process and the work. So I'm
Yeah.
not telling anybody what I don't know. I know that yes, ownership for women who earn well, absolutely.
Way to go, Gail. That's awesome. It's true. Ownership for women who earn well. Oh, that's good. There's a
Amen.
there's a fan who knows your tagline. That's a fan who knows your nutshell message. And here's the thing. The the skill sets that we've been talking about, which is trust builders. You have to have trust builders. Then that trust builder should help you attract an audience.
Yes.
Now, you have to figure out where your audience is going to be. Are they going to be on Substack? They're going to be on TikTok? Where are they? So you're not trying to throw your money at the wall and see what sticks or see how much you have left after you throw it at the wall, because they are going to try to vacuum the money out with an
Yes.
offer to help you build a business that's a dream business. That's You don't want that. You want something that is steady. You want it to be lean. We aren't headed towards times where money is going to be everywhere. So I want to give you the difference. I was talking to Monique the other day and I said, I've never steered a group of students through what's happening right now. I've never steered in this, holy crap. I built 18 businesses, but only 13 or 14, it's 13, have been really successful, and I've sold and made a lot of money, etc. But I came from a time where credit was easy
Hmm.
and money would arrive in the mail. Like there was one day, and this scared me back then, but in the 90s, one day I came home from work and there was $40,000 to the tune of a credit card in my thing with a $40,000 balance. And I was thinking to myself, what am I supposed to do with this $40,000 balance? Well, they gave it to me because I had a business and
Hmm.
etc. And it was pre-approved. And the thing about that is, I thought, well, if somebody stole my mail, they could walk off with my pre approved $40,000 card. And what a mess that would be. So, it gets to the point where I was like, you can build any business back then because money was available, it was flush,
Hmm. Hmm.
credit wasn't tight until 2008.
Right.
So, I was like, building a business was just a matter of knowing how to do it and offering a product. And when business came online, it was super simple to sell to somebody across the world.
Hmm.
My market went from being this community thing to this vast network with plenty of money. And now credit is starting to crunch. They don't want to give you that startup capital. And there's not a lot of venture capitalists that are going, yes, I'll invest in this. They're putting all their money into AI.
Yes.
And so when you're looking at the AI tools you have and how to build them, et cetera, your audience is everything. They're the stable floor where you're going to give your message to.
Hmm.
and you're going to take what you know and turn it into cash flow. And then the next thing, the next skill set you have is learning content development. So I'm going to be really honest. This is our first, I don't think we've done the show for 6 months. I don't even think we're 6 months into it. And right now, you're going to see us grow. If you just watch us,
Hmm.
you're going to go, oh, this is how you build a podcast. Oh, this is how you build an audience. Oh, this is how you talk about your talk. If you just watch us do it, you'll learn how, because we're showing you everything that you need to know to do. So, content development, it sounds like it's something easy, but learning to write a message,
Hmm.
learning to speak the language of your subscribers, learning to address their pain, learning what they want to know,
Yes.
not what you want to tell them,
Hmm.
but what they want to know. That is, I think that's a pretty steep learning curve. And if you start now, you will be able to talk to them by next year in
Hmm.
a way that makes sense to them. And I thought that was a pretty big learning curve for me. How about you?
Content is one of those things that, like Gail was saying, you need discernment and discipline. Because a lot
Mhm,
of times you just want to share what you know, but the discipline comes in researching, it comes in fact finding, it comes in doing polls, it comes in asking questions, talking to people on a day to day basis, getting to what they want to know and what their pain point really is versus what you just feel like, has been your experience and you just want to just share it with them. It comes to not only the discipline of being able to show up every day with the message
mhm,
that they want to hear, but you got to be able to discern how your audience is in this time. For instance, you and I are on the podcast, Wealth Rules. We know at any moment, any day now, the news is going to come up with some devastating information, potentially. But we know that that would trigger our audience. They would need to know that information immediately. And to
mhm.
do them a service, we would have to come on and we would have to discuss it. We would have to let them know how it affects their livelihood, how it affects their country, how it affects wealth, everything that our audience cares about. We would have to bring it up,
That's right.
whether or not we were okay or not. Whether we need to show up because
That's
our
right.
audience trust us to bring them the truth and to bring them information concerning these topics. We
Yeah,
can't decide. Yeah, we just can't decide that this is what they want. Like the topic today, we discussed it. You're like, you know what? This is what's happening right now in the world. I totally agreed. We're like, you know what? How can you fire your boss?
that's right. You need to do that now before he does it to you. So I
Yeah.
want to just tell all the high earners, thank you for your service. There's a lot of you that took on the mantle of doing the really hard work to even achieve that level of success. And for the
Yes.
women in the audience, double achieve. And for the Black women in the audience, double 10x that effort in order to get to that position. So one of the things that's there is there might be a sense of meaning
Mhm.
that leaves you when you leave your job.
Yes.
But I want to promise you, when you are stewarding an audience, there is intense meaning in that. And what I want to say, because Monique triggered something again while we were talking, and that is the reason that we do this particular work, our sense of meaning is if you know that there is a fire coming. I feel like the red coat that is, standing in the chapel, standing in the chapel where he was sitting and looking at the redcoats are coming, and he yelled through the streets. I can't remember his name, Paul Revere.
Power
He
Beer.
he had that, the redcoats are coming, the redcoats are coming. He woke everybody up before the thing came. So we're looking over there going, the tsunami is coming, the tsunami is coming. And here's what you need to do to prepare.
Hmm.
That sense of meaning and that sense of responsibility is why we do the podcast.
Yes,
Are we the best at it? Not yet, but we will be.
you will be.
And one of the things that we're doing is trying to give you the information that they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. They want you to continue to hold up the system that holds them up,
Hmm.
not you up. And we're trying to give you the system that holds you up, not them up. And I feel, I don't know about you, but I feel very patriotic about it. I
Yes.
feel like
Mhm.
that message is very much like, I don't know if you guys know who Liz Oyer is, but she was the pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. And they fired her because she wouldn't do something that was illegal. And so now she's online saying, guess what? This is happening. This is happening. And she keeps people informed.
Hmm.
That's what we're doing. But I don't want to just keep you informed. This is happening. This is happening. I want to share what needs to happen right now. But
Yeah.
more than that, we want to share with you the deceit that they're going to bring to you. It's like the marketers already know that you're going to be losing their job. So they're making this very seductive offer so that you give them money that you shouldn't give them right now. And if you are learning to steward your money and build wealth, that's exactly why we do this podcast.
Hmm.
We're not just trying to build trust builders or build an audience or, have community, because community, we talked about this already, it is so important.
Hmm.
But you want community that's for real. You
Yeah.
don't want community that's just sexy and telling you how you fit in or how you belong. If you just buy this, if you just have that, you
Hmm.
want to be able to steward what's coming. And here's what's, we have the tough conversations. So after you have your trust builders and you
Victor,
decide, go ahead.
you were just saying something, and it just reminded me of one of the posts that I saw. I think I read it on Substack when you're talking about how she got fired, and now she's basically saying, "Hey, this is what's going on," and it puts me in the mindset of what we're doing, but on a different level. Only because you can have someone who is a high earner, who
Mhm.
is going to be watching the replay if they're not on now, who is saying, "What can I do?" So we not only say, "Okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on." These are the steps that you can take right now to turn your situation around. These are the steps it takes to build a lifeboat. These are the steps it takes not to replace your income completely, but to sustain you and to be able to pay some of your bills, some of your debt. Keep your mind framed there, because again, not everybody is going to be able to go straight from manager to entrepreneur, but you are already in a place where you already know certain things because you are educated, degreed, high earner, so that you can take what you know and turn it into cash flow.
Mhm.
But the community piece of it too, where you come together and you actually learn the practical way of applying it. So you get into a school like the Independent Woman, you get in there, you're learning step by step, you're hearing the conversations every day, you're on the calls, you're learning step by step. And then we come back on Wealth Rules and we're telling you, hey, it can happen. We've seen it happen. We're in a group, a community where people are doing it every single day. We're not talking about, right now there are some hypotheticals. Everybody doesn't know everything that's going to happen. And
That's
so
right.
oh, you can do this. You could build this. If you just start this, and I can coach you. And we've seen that nightmare. We've seen that train wreck where people are paying $50,000, $60,000 for coaching, and you get nothing to show for it. And then you're like, okay, now I need another coach for that coach, and I need therapy because I just spent all my money and I don't know why. What's going on? So you're in a place where you still have time and you can take your time, and as you're building you can ask questions and you can navigate the entire process. You're not just in there, or we're not just talking and then just saying there's nowhere for you to go. We're
That's
not
right.
just talking and saying, do this, but we haven't done it, or we're not doing it. We're literally on
That's
a
right.
podcast, just starting out, growing it right now. And success leaves clues. So if you just watch and just pay attention to what we're doing and how we're doing it, and you can figure it out as you go along too. But we're here's like breadcrumbs. You know, we're waving the flag over here, over here. This is the way to get it done. So we start off with trust, building your audience, having a community, and then content. All of this comes into play to help you be able to fire your job. We're just
Yes.
bringing it full circle. This is why we're having this discussion, so that you can fire it when you want to on your terms. And if you want to keep your job, you just love it that much, great, you have an option.
So that is like some of the most powerful, I'm like mic drop. But one of the things I want to add to this conversation, I want to go over the list of things that you're going to need to build so that you can fire your boss, and you want to build them now. Now,
Mhm.
start now. And I'm not kidding when I say, if you ask my students, there are people who are up, their business is up in 30 days and they're making money in the second week. We've had people make money before their business was even full out. So the thing is, you want to be aware of what's the bottom line number you need. Like to maintain the basics of my life, I need, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. I don't know what it is. But if you're looking right now and you're thinking, okay, they're coming after our jobs and they're just whoop right down there, one of the things that you absolutely have to know is, what would you do? How fast can you make money? Do you really want to buy a high ticket, expensive program that the business, it takes a year? You need to go fast now, quick. And our systems help people build what we call a lifeboat business. But I want to talk about this. So, we talk about trust builders is the first thing. And we talk about building an audience and then becoming part of a community. And I would switch those. First, become part of a community, then put your systems up,
Mhm.
then make your trust builders and
Mhm.
building your audience, and then you're going to have to learn content development.
Yeah.
And the first thing you really need to know is what your message is to the world.
Mhm.
And then what we do is we create engagement loops. And we can't go through everything and tell you about engagement loops, but the last thing you need to build is engagement loops, which are systems that you put in place to help you connect with your clients. Now, engagement loops aren't, well, I started a YouTube channel and now I'm on TikTok, now I'm on Facebook, now I'm on, it's not like here's the engagement loop is all social media. You have to know where your client really is. You really need to know how they want to engage with you. And I want to give you a couple of examples like that. Some women want help, but they're afraid of social media because there are stalkers and weird men making weird comments. They don't feel safe in the world right now. And between the Epstein files and some of the stuff we have uncovered, imagine how much women might trust a man. It,
Mhm.
it takes a little longer to earn the trust. Well, it's the same with marketing. Marketing has been manipulated. You buy
Yeah.
crap and they want big money for crap. There have been crap delivery. I mean, the your buyer is completely not aligned with sales. So
Right.
you have to create a different type of selling, and
Mhm.
we call them engagement loops. And engagement loops are here to make sure that your business has trust builders in them. And we have this whole system that's our little secret system to help you build engagements loops so that you help steward someone. And you have to make it so that the container is safe, the community is safe, and
Mm.
that people feel safe in there. They're not men jumping in who are saying, oh, by the way, did I tell you that I am now raising funds for my agribusiness project without even saying hi? I mean, do you really think that kind of media, that kind of sales tactic works? The amount requested is $500,000. Well, let me write you a check. We don't even know who you are. You have none of my trust. And what do you think I think of you now that you put that in the link there? How do you think people feel? That it doesn't work anymore. So the other thing you're going to have to learn that I think is the most important, I'm just saying. So
Right.
that I think is the most important is ethical sales. That means you sell to serve,
Mhm.
not to hustle. And most people learn hustle and grind sales skills.
Mhm.
They don't learn ethical sales. And that to me is one of the most important things.
Yes.
Ethical sales is about serving people,
Yes.
not
Yes.
to hustle and grind and go, well, if I throw a bunch of ads at the wall and, I throw this in the thing. I mean, I've seen this so many times. I'm like, who thinks this is a smart thing to do? Doing a podcast, and I've seen like when they do lives where the thing goes up, everybody's throwing their link in, and the live is moving so fast. You really believe that works?
Right.
So it doesn't work for you to throw your link into a fast live chat, hoping that somebody goes, oh, look, he's selling a credit score removal thing. And let's pop on that. It doesn't work. And what you're doing is you're losing credibility. You're losing authority. The second you do that, nobody believes you. You
Yeah.
just become a phishing scam is what it is to me. And so I don't
And
think that's a smart thing to do.
no, it's not smart at all. Then you get blocked or
Mhm,
reported or
mhm.
removed from the platform that you're on. I'm like, you didn't even buy me a coffee. I have a buy me a coffee link or buy me a mojito because I don't drink. Buy me a ginger mojito. You didn't even buy me a mojito yet.
I know.
Didn't rub my back, nothing. Didn't get a massage. Just out here, just asking for stuff. And that's how you get blocked. That's how you lose trust. That's how you get removed, and that's how now you got to start from scratch. Now you got
What
to.
worries me is, did they pay to learn that skill? Did somebody actually say, let me show you marketing skills? It's
Mm,
$20,000 to learn these marketing skills. And I'm going to give away my best secrets. Now, when they do a live, throw your link in there. Like that's really the thing you paid for, that skill set. So you want to be careful about what you're learning. Is it ethical? So what happens is, this is the most important for me. And this is the real reason we work together. We work together because we know that we're for real.
yes.
And that when we sit together and we talk to you, what we want you to experience is
Hmm.
the for realness.
Yes.
And so we're giving away as much as we can so that you develop discernment, so
Hmm.
that you don't get ripped off, so
Yeah.
that you have and learn how to steward what's coming. And what's coming is the way you make money is not going to be job geared. Everybody is going to have to learn how to make their own money, whether you take over a family business, whether you get to the point where you
Hmm.
are building your own business, whether you are starting, you have to get out of the way of the shysters, and
Yes.
you have to get over to the point where you're stewarding your money. But the last thing I want you to do is steward your experience, not just what you know,
Hmm.
but your experience. So, for example, if you've been a teacher for 40 years and you have moms that are afraid to let their kids go to public schools because there's so much violence there.
Mhm.
And you say, here is the homeschooling method I would use. I'm an experienced teacher that has been in the industry for this many years, and I know the mistakes they'll make, and I'll know how to get the potential from your child out so that you can hone it and grow it. And here's my course, here's my thing, here's this, here's the community of other mothers who are
Yes.
doing the same thing. So you can share the stories of what's working, what's not working, and people can
Mhm.
actually meet the moment of saying, yes, I'm now homeschooling. So there isn't a requirement that you have to meet to have an online business.
No.
It's like, listen to me. This is important. In real estate, you have to go be licensed and you have to pay dues and fees. You have to continuing education. You have to every single year you've got to pay for the license. There's so many expenses in certain things. And fundamentally, the no barrier to entry is what we're talking about right now. And to
Yes.
me, online business gives you a market that isn't like, well, when you get to her level of expertise in real estate, you're selling real estate in countries that you've never even heard of before, but that's her gig. But the average person sells real estate in their community,
Mhm.
in their little area, and there's so much competition and so much money going out in gas and fees and show you this and blah, blah, blah. And the person who can't make up their mind after you've showed them 10 or 12 houses and, oh, I just don't know. Let's see them again. So that point, I'm trying to tell you, the barrier to entry, the best thing you can do when you build that audience and build this business, take what you know in your experience and value it as an asset, not imposter syndrome,
No.
an asset. The treasure is in you. The experience that you had from this going to this, the
Mhm.
experience of that, that's the diamond in the rough. That's the magic of your business. It's also the magic of you. Lastly, the last skills that I think everybody needs to have, absolute must have, is you need to learn to communicate differently.
Mhm.
Meaning, when you're at your job, you communicate one way, the way they tell you to.
Yes.
But when you're on your own, how do you communicate your message? And I know that you had to make that difference here, but when you made the move from this to this, how did your ability to communicate change? What did you focus on for that? I know for me, I literally took classes on how to speak better. And of
Mhm.
course, sales classes and communication classes. You practice over time. What did you do?
Well, first of all, I just want to say this. Going back to your point about the teacher,
Mhm.
is this everyone has some knowledge base, and you do have to value it. You may not see what you need to do yet, but if you look at what you already do, don't reinvent the wheel, don't go pay to learn a new skill. That's going to start you from ground zero. But if you look at what you're already doing, for instance, I want to share that I have children, and I have two sons in particular who play sports at a high level.
Yeah, they
And
do.
I really didn't know a lot about how to navigate the process and what to do as far as the parent role. And so I got involved with a group that helps parents of athletes who are high achievers. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm looking for that online, but people have that experience. And because she had that experience and she got with the team, she's a sports attorney and a couple of agents and things like that, the whole
Mhm.
group, right? Work with the parents. And I was like, wow, that was genius that they thought of it. But they also tell you, yeah, we had to learn how to talk to parents because we're so used to talking business to business. They were
Yeah.
so used to talking to, in the courtroom, to the judge and to other attorneys. They were talking to parents, so it was kind of harsh. And you were like, whoa, you're hurting my feelings. Stand up for
That's
your kid, do this. And you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. I feed them, I give them shelter. I'm getting to the other point, other part of the sports thing. But when you know what you do and you do it well, you do have to find out what you don't do well. Not saying that you do something terribly wrong. It's just something that you may need to improve on. Like when you go to an interview and they say, "Tell me what you're great at," and you're like, "Oh," and they're like, "Well, what do you think you could use some improving on?" "Oh, I can't think of anything." Sure, you can. Now you're a business owner. You've got to think about that thing. Of course, think about the podcast. I was like, okay, articulation training. Talking online is not the same as talking to somebody in person that I'm just out to lunch with. And being able to, as far as the online space, really getting that call to action dialed down. What do they really need that I can actually provide? What do I have to give to them? And how can I say it in a way that they'll understand it and get it? Not just, okay, for instance, go buy the book. No, our book is powerful. It's life changing. We teach the hidden rules that they didn't teach you. How can I explain that online in a way that they can click on the link because it's going to help them out?
yeah.
Because they were searching for something and they found us. How can we make it plain so that they can understand why they
Yeah.
need it and that is there for them? And so just learning different skill sets in that way, of course, the speaking, I already had sales training. Like the sales wasn't the piece that I needed help on. It was all the other stuff. There were so many things that I hadn't thought about just being in a new space. Typically, I'm face to face, and I can just really build rapport very quickly. If I'm in person, you know, we're loving each other down. But online, you can't see me. You don't know who I am. You haven't
That's
met me. You don't know if I'm joking or if I'm serious based on the delivery. So those are a couple of things. How about you, Vickie? What skill sets did you need besides the communication piece that really helped
well,
you
you
online?
what happened for me is I learned old school sales skills. I
Mhm,
know how to close the deal with a little bit of pressure, the sentences that are, kind of push your ego in the right way to close the deal. And I never felt good about them. I
mhm,
always thought I was being schmarmy. And then I realized my mindset had to get to the point where I look at it and I literally say, if you don't work with me, you're going to struggle. You're going to lose money and you're going to struggle.
mhm,
And I believe that in my bones now. So I never have to use this. And you can sense from all the testimonials in it, you can look at me online, whatever you want to do. And by the way, if you're going online, my name is spelled Vickie, not Y, not IE. Because other than, so what I want to have happen when I am learning these skills is I wanted to sell out of love and
mhm,
out of a real deep service to someone. So it was my listening skills that had to change. And my listening skills were from how to overcome objections
mhm,
to how to really connect with them and listen to what it is that's hurting them. I wasn't trying to close the deal and overcome your objections. And I listened to hear for that, which objection
mhm.
I'm going to use. And now I listen because I really want to know what's your pain? What's
Right.
the thing that you're going through? What is it that you don't believe about yourself? Or where's your imposter syndrome?
Mhm,
I'm really that to me, this moving from this skill to this skill, this blew up my relevance. It blew up my sales because people are very much about, are they for real? Do they give a crap about me and my thing? And if you're there going, well, what do you want? Or da da da, and you have your little closing technique, you are not connecting with somebody who's going to be with you 5.5 years later.
Absolutely.
And that's like, I don't have to advertise. I don't. I'd rather give you this information, help you succeed as well as me. I love the testimonial. I love to go, that's my client over there doing great things. That's my client over there doing great things. That's my client over there doing great things. When you work with me, you'll do great things, because that's all I teach people to do. And that great thing is already within them. So instead of trying to close the deal and overcome the objection, the biggest leap I made was to listen and serve to sell. That's really big for me. That, and I appreciate the question too, because the question is, um the question, thank you.
Hmm.
um the question is, what skills are you going to have to revamp when you make this change? And the change is here. It's not somewhere. They just haven't got to you yet. There are, a little over 300 million people, and let's say 100 million of you are in these high jobs, these high salary jobs that you have been relying on, that you're so good at, that you're amazing at. And one of the things that you mentioned about your attorney friend, I think that's brilliant. If you can't assess what you do, like this attorney friend who did sports, she realized, you know, the athletes in your house are exceptional. All, by the way, as you go to the right household, over the top of the door, it says, "Welcome to the House of Genius." All of their kids are at genius levels. They all have great grades. They're all really close. I mean, I don't know. I think sometimes you should do a parenting podcast. But that attorney who thought of that, you have to get to the point where you say, here's my skill sets. And you can even ask what you're passionate about. But sometimes being really good at something is a passion. Just being really good at something and being able to advise people in that way. And learning that, uncovering that, is what we do inside the Lifeboat Business Program. We help you uncover that and bring it to the surface. But I really appreciate the question you asked. I gave a pretty long answer, but it's important for you to understand some of the skill sets. And I wonder, like, what were some of the other skill sets that we had to switch? Mine was writing as well. Right, going from long form to short little 5 sentences. Or
Hmm.
remember when Twitter came out and it was like
120
one word,
characters. Yeah.
something like that, and you had to figure out what to say. I thought that was like a big learning curve for me. Which ones did you have?
Yeah, I couldn't stand Twitter. At first, it was like,
Mhm.
it wasn't for me because I like to talk, as you can
Mhm.
see. So 120 characters, that's not enough time. I don't have anything to say. 120 characters, just forget it. I forgot what I was going to say. By the time I have to break it down and keep editing it down to 120 characters. But I even think about being a good student because I've had to sit under great mentors like yourself. And just being, you've already earned, you've already learned, you've already lived life, you already built a little something. So just being able to be a student and sit back and learn. You're not always going to be the one teaching. You're going to have to sometimes say, you know what? I might know some things, but I don't know everything. I know I took, as you know, Vickie, I've taken classes with OpenAI because I used to code.
That's right.
So then I was like, well, you know what? AI is the next thing. So I'm going to have to learn that too. Went back to the classroom, went online. OpenAI had some courses, and then some universities had courses. And so I was online taking those and taking real classes. Being in a classroom setting is humbling. When you got to turn in assignments, like I don't need to turn an assignment in because I really don't need a grade because I really don't need this for my job. But there's a certain level of excellence that you have to have. That you say, really, I want to do this for me, but I also have time invested, and the teacher, the instructor, the mentor has time invested too. So you got to show up every day, present, ready to work, ready to better yourself. You're talking about you want to fire your boss going into 2027, and you can start now. But you got to be willing to sit at somebody's feet too, and really take that time serious. What do I need to learn in the next 3 4 months going into 2027 that's going to carry me to 2028? How do I need to set up a lifeboat business? How do I need to execute it in excellence? Those are the things that I was like, okay, you might know some things, you don't know everything. Always being a student. I teach my children that you're not going to know everything. You sit in the classroom, shut your mouth, get your pen and paper out, and learn. You might have some smarts, and raise your hand. If your teacher calls me and says that you were doing too much talking or that you weren't paying attention, it's going to be a problem because you don't know everything and you miss things when you're not in the mindset of learning, when you feel like you've already learned everything. Somebody could come along and give you a brilliant idea, but you're not open because you
Oh, yeah.
didn't. And then, like, I'll run it back. The first conversation that we had, it was just, I don't know, every time we've had a moment with me that was altering for me, we were alone. The conversation that we were on, it was a call that was open to everybody. But at the very beginning, it was me and you. And so you said, you know what, we're just here. Why don't we just talk? And I was like, well, why not? And you started digging it. I was like, whoa, this conversation is getting real. It's digging some places that I hadn't really realized, and things I was doing, I really didn't realize I was doing. So the performance and the market base and everything else, but you've got to be willing. You got to be willing. You got to be coachable and teachable. That's it. You got to be coachable and teachable and willing to be mentored
You
during
know,
this time.
yeah, it's like you want to get to the point where you're excited to bring your A game.
Hmm.
And when you're working a job for somebody else that you don't like, that you're performing well, blah, 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 you're not bringing your A game. Now, can you bring your A game scholastically? Yes. But you're not bringing your A game emotionally. Now, some of you were like, oh, yeah, I do. Wait till the days that I go in court. But I know um, a friend of mine who is absolutely one of the most brilliant people. And she has a master's degree in science. No, she has a law degree from Cambridge. I mean, this woman is at the top of the top. And she has a degree in science, literally 2 degrees in law. Worked at in Europe at one of the biggest law firms. Worked at I'm not thinking of the name of it, but it is a I'm embarrassed that I don't know the name of it, but it's this big organization that's a world organization that takes care of uh, medicine or something. I'm just having a blank here, but she was so degreed, so smart, overachieving, hated her life, hated it. And I got to be honest, I was all about, when I get my accounting degree, I'm going to go to the big, back then it was the big eight. Now it's like the big four. So, that's my age. But anyway, so we're going back to this. I'm going to get done with this degree. I'm going to get here. I'm going to get there. And I remember when I got there, and I won't name what accounting firm it was, but it rhymes with Academy Awards. And I was in the oil and gas division over there. Thank you very much. Um, I was in the oil and gas division, and I was in there, and I did not graduate from an Ivy League school. I partied my way out of my scholarship and things from I was at CU Boulder. So I graduated in Denver, Colorado from Metropolitan State. So it was a state school. So I still back then got in, and I was working in one of those gray cubicles, and there was 2 people to a cubicle. It was a pretty big one. There was me and a dude behind me, and we were, you know, mates in that particular cubicle. And what ended up happening was he did graduate from the Ivy League school, and he was a man, and he was making 27,000 a year to walk out as a newbie, and I was making 19. And as you can imagine, doing the same job, that just chapped my hide. And I only spent like 3 months, because after I found that out, I was like, "Oh, hell no." So I I just stopped and I went, "Nope, this isn't for me." And I know a lot of women know this particular role, but when you get to the point where you are so brilliant and so unhappy or underpaid
Hmm.
for your brilliance, you are undervaluing you and getting to the point where you are moving from this to this over here,
Hmm.
from that miserableness you feel. You can't bring your A game if you know you're being underpaid, undervalued, disrespected, or you're so unhappy that you can't bring your A game.
Right.
So if you are doing your own thing, I get up every morning and have for years for the privilege of running the business I run. I'm so blessed. And once you get over there, you're not bringing your A game. You are your A game, and you
Hmm.
become your A game. And there's no way back to this other place. There's no way back. I mean, tell me right now, could you suck? You can't suck. You're now this, and you can't, bridge is burnt. You can't go back to this thing that you don't like, the thing that you hate, or the thing you were in the past. And that's the opportunity of right now. The
Yes.
right now is set it up while you don't feel stress. Do
Hmm.
these things now while they're available to you, and find the joy in absolutely everything. Now, I got to admit, the fun part of the week when I do the podcast, I have so much fun. We talk afterwards and everything. It's absolutely a privilege. It's a blessing from God that I met you and we're doing the podcast, and it's so fun. We're not at our A game yet. We're at our A game of learning, but that continuous learning mindset, that has to become part of your A game. And it's exactly what you said, that skill sets are going to change, and you're going to get paid based on how well you implement the skill sets today, which are how to build an audience, how to build your community, how to create content that's relevant to your message, how to build trust builders and engagement loops that help your client want to be with you, because that's going to be the new game here. To review, you want to build stewardship with an audience.
Hmm.
You don't want to buy a high ticket offer right now. You want to be lean and mean, and
Yes.
you want to be up in 30 days or less. You do not want to be, hi, this is going to take a year and we're going to do this step first. And let's make your vision board. Girlfriend, you don't have time to make a vision board.
Mm-mm.
You don't. So you need a system that'll be getting on it just like that.
Hmm.
So today I want to leave you with the thought that you have what it takes to turn anything around.
Yes.
That's the hard thing for you to understand. It doesn't matter where you are right now. You can turn it around. Is it going to be easy? No, you're going to be facing the demons of your mind, the things that have blocked you your whole life, the stories you've told yourself of imposter syndrome, or that inner critic who says you suck or you can't do this. You're going to face that, and you're going to tell them to shut up and hold your beer. I mean, or mojito? Is that what you got going on?
It's
Hold your mojito, hold your wine.
virgin.
Yes, because we don't drink alcohol. Neither of us do. My drink of choice is always coffee, but I do like non-alcoholic drinks that are more fruity and stuff like that. So now we digress, but we're coming back, and I want to. What's the one message you want them to know for the end of this show?
I like how you ended with the story about your friend who was successful. I mean, in all areas. I mean, think a degree from Cambridge. That's top tier. You know, working for a top law firm internationally. Another degree in science, and still didn't like her job.
Hmm.
That's why I did what I did to become an optional worker. Because when I stopped, or if I stopped loving it, I didn't want to feel stuck. I
Mm.
have things outside of my career. I have a family. I have a spouse. I have things that I like to do, travel, shop. I can't let that pressure be added to me.
Yeah.
So I had to create a door for me to be able to walk through it if I needed it. If I don't need it, fine. Every now and then, I just take a long break and then I get back to it. But it's never anything that I don't choose to do or I don't want to do. And I love what I do. I love it so much that I would do it for free. But,
Yeah.
thank God somebody's willing to,
Pay us.
yes, but have the option. You don't want to get fired and not have an option. Not this late in the game. Like we've done everything else right. We went to school. We've earned well. We worked hard for the last, 10, 15 years. Why stop at that? Why not give yourself another option? Your boss has the option to fire you. Why don't you have the option to fire your boss? And that's what we're creating here. Options for you to be able to fire your boss if you need to. But I mean, you still got time. 2027 is around the corner, but you still have several months left before 2027 to get going. So that's what I want to leave you with. Create the door now, create another option so that you can fire your boss if you want to.
And that is what we're going to leave the show on, because this is my microphone right there, and I'm going to leave it like that. Listen, I want you to know that we are going to move the show to a Wednesday time. Thank you, everybody, for being with us and being on the show with us. And we're going to see you next Wednesday at the same time, Wednesday, for the Wealth Rules podcast. Thank you for being on. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.